You're listening to JTE Movie Thinks. Is that the title? Is that correct grammar? All right, we'll go with it. It's a show about movies and thinking. And now, here's your host, every man's hero, JTE.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of JTE Movie Thinks podcast. This week I have a guest. He's been on once before. We talked about a really weird documentary. That's all I remember. It was something I never heard of. Oh my God. What was...
Already off the rails. Apologies, JT.
It's okay. Listen, laptops go off sometimes.
Yep.
Last time you were on here, we talked about a documentary. I can't remember which one it was.
Was it the one about the making of the Island of Dr. Moreau?
That's right.
Yes.
Correct. I remember now.
Crazy movie with Val Kilmer and Marlon Brando, and just their egos clashed. Pretty bananas story.
I think you're the only person I've had on the show who actually brought up a documentary.
Wow.
Which is very interesting. I love documentaries. I just love information. Anytime, when I watch a movie that's based on a real event, I'm more invested.
Yeah.
And a documentary is just literally you're learning history, I feel like, depending on the documentary.
It depends. I mean, some documentaries can be exceedingly dry and can end up a real snooze fest. But then the documentaries that rise above are the ones that you really get invested in, and it's compelling storytelling, and that is an art form in and of itself. The editing and the story,
I could not imagine having to make a documentary. I love documentaries, but I think it has to be the hardest to make because when you film a movie, you know what you need to film to get the scene. With documentaries, they're usually you're going over hours of film.
But with a regular movie, you have the story, you know what you're filming, with the regular movie, you have to create this thing, whereas documentary, you just have someone sit there, talk, throw in a little B-roll,
depending on the documentary,
that's a gross oversimplification.
So much research. I feel like people could research a year before they can start to work a documentary. And if it's something like Ken Burns, that thing took him 10 years to make, because he went through footage of Vietnam War and all
some
this
documentaries take a lifetime.
Yeah.
So I actually watched, this isn't the film I want to talk about, but since we're on the subject of documentary, Errol Morris.
Of course, the great.
Yes, one of the all-time great documentary
Thin Blue
filmmakers.
Line, correct?
Yes, Thin Blue Line, Fog of War.
Fog of War is great.
Yeah, I think Fog of War is what he won the Oscar for. Tabloid was a wild, cool film, but he's got a new documentary episodic series on Netflix called Wormwood.
I've heard good things about it. I have not watched it. Give me the elevator pitch.
Yeah, so Wormwood delves into the CIA's LSD tests.
That's right. I remember watching the trailer for this now. Okay.
In the 50s and 60s. And someone, after going through the LSD test, a week and a half later, a former operative killed himself.
I think he jumped out of a window or something.
Yes, exactly. You know it.
I saw the trailer.
Yep. And it retraces what happened, and it's so nicely stylized. It's beautiful to look at. And I think the standout thing in this documentary series is the recreations. Peter Sarsgaard.
Yep. That's what threw
Tim
me
Blake
off.
Nelson.
Yeah, it threw me off in the trailer because I was like, oh, they're recreating. It's almost like they're refilming it as a movie in some ways.
Yes.
But as a documentary, it's a nice little hybrid. I think it was over Christmas break. I was looking for something to watch on Netflix. And me and my sister, I believe, we stopped, we watched the trailer, and we were like, this looks a little too deep to get into our family vacation.
Yes.
But it looked very interesting.
Yeah, it's heavy material, but it's an enjoyable watch, and it's really engrossing, and just the style, the way it's made, just the precision and the filmmaking and Errol Morris's touch, it absolutely should be nominated for the look, the editing, the art direction. It's just beautiful. It doesn't have, as far as these docuseries that delve into a crime or something, it doesn't have the bang of The Jinx or Making a Murderer.
Okay.
Yeah, because The Jinx, Making a Murderer in particular, The Keepers, another one from Netflix, those all had these twists and turns. This one has a couple of twists and turns, definitely, but I feel like it was a little bit repetitive by the end, so it doesn't have that bang, like leaving you, with your mouth agape.
Interesting. I mean, I totally forgot all about it. Like, I watched the trailer, and I just, since then, have totally forgotten about it. So I'm so glad you brought it back up, because I am definitely going to put that on my list on Netflix to watch it, because I love those things. I watched The Keepers. I watched Making a Murder. I watched The Jinx. I watched all those. Fantastic. Well, let's get to what the show's all about. I have a guest on, and I asked them what was the last movie they watched, whether it be a movie on Netflix, maybe it was something you saw on a plane, maybe it was this movie that you pulled off your shelf, something that you've watched 100 times, but you want to watch it that 101th time. Hal Rudnick, what was the last movie you watched?
It was I, Tonya.
Oh, to the cinema or a screener?
A screener.
Okay.
And
the screener, guys, is us in Hollywood. When award season comes, if you know friends who are in a guild, you can borrow the movies that you guys are trying to see in theaters, and we can watch them at home.
Exactly. And I happen to be in the Writers Guild, and I got a bunch of screeners this year, and I, Tonya, was one of them. And I was saving it to watch it with my girlfriend. She doesn't have a DVD or Blu-ray player hooked up.
What?
So I was just so it was sitting there because like we agreed, like we both wanted to see it, and then we ended up hooking up the. Finally, she found, like, she didn't even know she had the cables anymore.
Did she find the DVD?
Yeah, yes,
she
found everything
somewhere.
The DVD player was in a closet, and like the cable was in a separate closet.
Wow!
But it all came together.
Okay.
And we sat down and we watched I, Tonya.
So her birthday is coming up eventually. Are you thinking Blu-ray player? Are you thinking PS4? Get her, 2-in-1.
You know what? She's not a video gamer. She's.
Okay.
I would actually like if I came home.
Yeah.
And she was playing video games. Like if I like my literally smoke would come out of my ears, and I'd be like, who is this person? Because she's she's super fun, but just like she is like past that time.
Okay. Would you say she's overall good technology? Like, is she the kind, like, my parents call me, they're like, how do we work the Blu-ray player?
She's pretty good.
And I'm like, you open up the tray, you put the disc in.
Right. She's got, are you familiar with the Sonos? The Sonos system? Yeah, like she's got a Sonos system in her house. I don't know if
pretty high tech.
Yeah, I don't know if she hooked it up.
Okay.
She probably had a guy come over. Yeah, I mean, she's definitely like, you know what, I'm going to get a guy to come over and do it.
I will say this, when it comes to those screeners, a lot of times they are DVD.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll get lucky and get a Blu-ray. I watched The Darkest Hour, and I expected it to be a DVD. It was a Blu-ray. It looked fantastic. Why are they still sending DVDs? I'm guessing it's just cheap, and there's so many that have to go out.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a great question.
Give me that much more for Blu-ray.
And this might be a novice question. Are all Blu-ray players capable of playing DVDs?
Yes.
Okay.
Now I'm questioning your technical skills.
Yes. You should, as well you should. All right, let me ask you another question, JT.
Good.
Are you? I strongly believe in this. I want to know what your thoughts are. I mentioned this in Movie Fights actually a couple weeks ago. Do you think Darkest Hour and Dunkirk should be mashed up?
Yeah, you did mention that. And I think after I saw the movie, I was like, oh, I might have liked Dunkirk more if this was like a B story.
Right?
Like, it's funny because I didn't love Dunkirk as much as everybody else. I appreciate it and I respect it more than anything because it's a beautifully shot film.
Oh, yeah.
I like Darkest Hour mainly for Gary Oldman's performance.
Yes.
So if you did intercut it, I would have the performance I was looking for in Dunkirk.
Yeah.
And it would also put some action. I'm trying to I don't know exactly how the timetables work on both movies because I think Dunkirk, the time's all over the place. First of all, there's like 30 minutes, an hour a day, it's all over the place. But yeah, I could see that. I don't know if someone's out there's got to do it. I would cut down both movies.
Oh so yeah, I wouldn't put you can't put the whole thing. No.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, it would have to be like the way what was Topher Grace cut together the prequels, right?
Gotcha,
yeah.
Totally.
So yeah, turn it into an hour and a half.
Yeah, no,
2 hours.
I'd give it maybe 220.
220, sure. 2.5. You know what? If someone went through the trouble of doing it, I'd sit through 2.5 hours.
I mean, Dunkirk. You seen Dunkirk?
Yeah.
Take the whole boat stuff out of it.
Yep.
None of that really worked for me. So you take all that boat with Mark Rylance, who won the Oscar when Stallone should have won it.
Yeah.
Take him out of there.
You're still salty about that.
Still salty. Take him out of there.
I remember that.
And I wanted Grouchy for that, for my disgust. So yeah, I could totally see that. I like Darkest Hour more actually, probably than Dunkirk, because the performance was so good. And I mean, Gary Oldman's more than likely going to win an Oscar. He's
Probably,
won everything, right?
but I just saw Phantom Thread as well.
Yeah, that was good.
And man, Daniel Day-Lewis is real good.
He is real good. It's almost unfair.
Like he delivers these digs. Like his lines are just like daggers. Like when he's cutting someone down.
But it's the Tom Brady thing. Like he can't win MVP every year, even though he's the best every year. Because you just become used to it. You become complacent. You're like, yeah, he's the best.
Yeah, but did you see the way Brady kissed his kid? A little weird.
I don't know. I like to think he sucks the youth out of his children, and that's how he's able to keep going.
Yes.
How else can you explain a 40-year-old playing at this level?
Yeah, like hyperbaric chamber, the blood platelet recycling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he sucks the youth out of his children.
Whatever it takes.
Like a succubus.
Doesn't he drink 12 gallons of water a day or something?
Does he? Good Lord.
I heard he's got a ridiculous regimen.
He basically that's the amount I shower in, probably.
Right?
That's crazy. Yeah, all right. Well, we're speaking of Oscar contender movies. This movie has some shot at the Oscars, I Tonya. I think is Margot Robbie nominated?
Yes, Margot Robbie is
nominated for Best Actress.
Allison Janney
might have adapted screenplay or something like that also.
Yes, not nominated for Best Picture.
Not nominated for Best Picture, no. I saw this movie and I enjoyed it. I watched this with my girlfriend also, and I think she was going in hoping it would be more about the incident.
Yes.
Which is, I think, when you think Tanya Harding, you think Nancy Kerrigan, you think of that whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if this movie just took place within 3 weeks, but it's not that. It really takes place over her whole life.
Yes.
And they really don't touch on the whole Nancy Kerrigan thing very much at all.
Yeah, I was surprised just how briefly it's covered and shown in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's covered, but never in a way I thought it was going to be. It wasn't like this big, like, did she, didn't she, what was going on? It was literally like, it was something that just happened to Tanya Harding throughout her whole life, which was just insanity.
Yeah, and I mean, you really learn about the woman, about the person, and I didn't realize that she was banned for life from figure skating.
Yep.
I mean, how'd they let her skate in the Olympics?
Because it was an ongoing investigation at that time.
Right.
It was like, we don't have enough to stop it. And it wasn't until afterwards they were like, all right, you know what? You probably did this. And one thing the weird thing about this movie, and I've heard some people complain about it, is that it's trying to have its cake and eat it too kind of deal. Like at times it's going for the comical, then it'll quickly shift to a more dramatic or disturbing.
Yes.
And it doesn't, and because those two are so opposite and they're so close to each other, at times it just feels like I don't know if I'm supposed to be feeling bad. Am I supposed to be laughing?
Right.
And it really has trouble, I think, at times balancing that.
Yeah. I feel like a sneeze coming on right now.
Go for it. That was like a cough sneeze.
Thank you. Are you going to cut that out?
No, I'll put that in.
Nice.
Because that's a cough sneeze right there.
You know what?
Like,
sneezes are funny. Sometimes people have like a weird sneeze. Yeah. And it's like, whoa.
My girlfriend sneezes like...
Oh, that's great.
And it sounds like she's not letting it go. Like, let it go.
Yeah.
You know, I understand if you're in like a public transportation or something like that, but
yeah, don't be afraid to blow up the spot with your sneeze. As long as you're covering your shit, you know, it's all good.
Totally, man.
But to what you were saying, I absolutely noticed that I was watching this, JT, and where that stood out the most were the scenes of domestic violence between her and her boyfriend,
exactly,
and husband. That was Galuli, right? Yeah, and. It was just like, oh, wow, like we're shifting gears kind of, fast and loose here.
Exactly.
And I'm like, that's, tonally, I felt it a little bit.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I do think this movie has a strong cast. Sebastian Stan, a.k.a. Winter Soldier, plays the husband. A lot of Oscar love for Allison Janney as the mother.
Yeah.
Which I'm a little surprised.
What were you so on her?
I thought she was good, but like for me, another film that came out this year, Lady Bird. I thought Laurie Metcalf from the Roseanne fame. I thought she just absolutely killed it in that movie and shows so many different levels, whereas I think Allison Janney is playing almost a character. She is just the evil mom throughout. She has a little moment of like, where she gets to be a little bit touching, but it's so over the top villainry at times.
It is. She's playing like this, like a chain smoking caricature a little bit. But
totally.
That said, I really love Allison Janney. She,
Me too.
One of my favorite films from the '90s is Ang Lee's Ice Storm.
Oh, love that movie.
And
Tobey Maguire.
Oh yeah.
Who else is in it? Who's the female? Christina Ricci.
Kevin
Kline. Oh, great movie.
We're forgetting one. Joan Allen.
Joan Allen, yes.
Joan Allen at the height of her powers.
At the height.
Joan Allen's 90s. Don't forget about Joan Allen's The Contender.
The Face Off.
Face Off.
Yes. That's what I always think
She's
of.
a little bit like,
Yeah.
I don't know if that was her, but Face Off's a great movie.
Yeah.
When did Bourne come out? When did the first Bourne movie?
The first one was around 2000, I think.
Right. Joan Allen was a force, especially in Ice Storm.
Ice Storm
as the shoplifting mom.
Ice Storm, very underrated. Ang Lee, great movie. I haven't seen it in a while. But
And
I used to
one
watch
thing, I just, that movie, like, that was when I first really started to get conscious about film criticism and breaking down different parts of movies when I saw Ice Storm. And Ice Storm, I just remembered being so struck by how the film, like, the colors and the directorial choices, and directorial choices, and the filmmaking echoed the weather and the way the characters were behaving, and the ice storm in the movie, the titular storm, was there was everything was icy. The characters and the environment.
It's one of those movies I watched a lot when it originally came out. I used to rewatch it on HBO, but it has been a few years since I've seen it. But that being said, I still remember it really well. It's the movie that introduced me to key parties.
Oh, yeah.
There's a whole scene where I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And I guess that was, it takes place in the 70s, correct? Or 80s?
70s.
It is 70s.
Yep,
Okay, yeah.
Nixon.
Old 70s key parties. I need to go revisit that. I believe Criterion released a Blu-ray version of it, which I've been meaning to actually pick up. I totally forgot about. So I'll need to pick that up. I want to talk a little bit about Margot Robbie.
Yes.
Oscar nominee. I'll say this, she came on the scene blazing with Wolf of Wall Street.
Yep.
It was fantastic in that movie.
Yeah, and that, for me, what won Best Picture that year?
Oh, I don't remember, but I wish
But
it was. It should have been Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, I thought Wolf of Wall Street was fantastic. Although in this day and age, at post Me Too and everything, I wonder if Wolf of Wall Street would be taken a little bit differently, because there was a contingent saying it really looked past all the sexism at that.
Well, it's showing what sexism was.
Yes, I mean, I think to tell the story, you gotta.
Yeah, that's how bad it was, and that's what led to probably the way it was. Recently.
People were saying that it glorified it. I don't think it did. I think it just,
I think that's how
it showed the excesses.
Yeah.
If you're going to show, if you're going to do something about Sodom and Gomorrah, if you're going to do something about, the Playboy Mansion in the 1970s or something, you gotta show some bone in my man.
I'm pretty sure Jordan Belfort, the real life character, said the movie was tame compared to the things they did.
Right.
So I think you have to go excessive to the point where they didn't even go excessive enough. Probably what actually happened, because it would just be even probably worse.
Now, I'm getting riled up now. Who won? Leo won for Revenant, and I well deserving, I thought, but I also thought he should have won for Wolf of Wall Street. That Quaalude scene alone.
I totally agree with you. I remember that to me that was I saw another level of Leo that I didn't know he could go, the physical comedy. I didn't know he could do that.
Totally.
So I agree with you. I don't know when that year, but maybe he won next year for Revenant. Maybe it was a little bit of a makeup. But I love Wolf of Wall Street. I need to see it again. It's one of those movies that's 3 hours, and it could have went on for another 2.
Yeah.
And I would have been totally fine.
So she came in hot, guns
blazing.
blazing.
But to me, everything she's done after that, nothing screamed Oscar winner. She was in Focus with Will Smith.
Yeah.
She was she was fine as in Suicide Squad as Harley. I guess she's one of the standouts.
Yep.
She was in that movie with Tina Fey, Foxtrot, whatever.
Oh, yeah, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot or whatever.
Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. nothing was like, even though she debuted so well in Wolf of Wall Street, I was never like, this girl has an Oscar in her future after that, because all the roles to me she's done after have just been fine. So like, this is really, I think, showing up. She's living up to the potential she showed in Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you might not have thought that she had the chops for this type of character prior to this, but yeah, I think it worked. She didn't go. So what do you think of this? The Oscar bait, where a beautiful actress becomes less beautiful.
The Charlize Theron.
Yes, the Charlize Theron theory.
Let's go to Monster. Well, it hasn't been done that many times that I know of. It worked for Charlize Theron. Mm-hmm. It worked for Nicole Kidman in The Hours.
Yeah.
She put the nose on.
Uh-huh.
Tanya Harding, I don't know if she's like ugly in the movie. She just like, she doesn't make herself look that much different. It's just little things. It's really hairstyles and stuff.
Hairstyles.
I'm trying to think of
a lot of bad 80s hairstyles.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any actresses that use the Theron method. But those are the ones that come to mind.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
I think, if it fits the character, then I have no problem with it, obviously.
Yeah.
Look at Gary Oldman.
Mm-hmm.
He's a big
fat
Churchill.
He put on a fat suit.
Yeah, I mean, De Niro, he goes old school. He actually gained the weight for Jake LaMotta. Mm-hmm. It's just transformation. I really loved Christian Bale. I always thought he was a good actor, but like when I saw him in The Fighter,
yes,
and the way he not like The Machinist where he just became super skinny.
Yeah.
But like you see him in The Fighter and he looks like hell. He looks like a crack addict.
Yes.
And to me, he showed, much like I said, I see different actors like Leo did in Wolf of Wall Street. He went in another gear I didn't know he had.
Yeah.
When I saw The Fighter, which Christian Bale won an Oscar for,
yes,
I saw him put it in gear and I didn't know he had. I didn't know he could be that charming, kind of goofy kind of guy. Like every movie I've seen him, he was so dead serious and monotone and like very just brooding.
Yeah.
So to see The Fighter and be like, oh my God, I can't believe that's Christian Bale. I don't know if this is that for Margot Robbie because it's so early in her career. Mm-hmm. And I do think the roles she picked before this weren't exactly asking much out of her.
Yeah.
Wolf of Wall Street was a great debut. This is, to me, kind of like her first, hey, I could be a real actress that could have a little more range than you think I do. I'd like to see her do like a straight up drama, something because this does have a lot of comedic tones to it.
Yes, for sure.
I would like to see her maybe go a little bit more serious, but I'm not sure what that movie is. But I think she's doing another film actually that's in the works where she plays like an old British, not old British lady, but like a British lady or something like that. I can't remember. I just remember seeing screenshots. So,
yeah. I thought she did a very solid job. I wouldn't say it was Oscar. I'd be very surprised if she won.
I need to see, like, again, for me it was like, will she get nominated? She did. I have to see like who didn't get nominated that might have deserved it.
Yeah,
but
I liked. I couldn't pick her over Saoirse Ronan.
No,
that was just such a human and evocative, I felt like, oh yeah, I am watching difficult adolescence.
See, I really liked her in Lady Bird. I almost liked her better in Brooklyn. Did you see Brooklyn?
Yes.
And she was nominated for that also.
Yeah, Brooklyn was lovely.
If you asked me what performance do I like better, Lady Bird or Brooklyn, I'd probably go Brooklyn.
You know what? I'm not going to fight you on that, JT.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I can understand people can capture it in the moment.
Yeah.
Like Lady Bird's the thing right now. But like, I think if you go back and watch Brooklyn, that is a great performance and a little bit stronger, in my opinion, than Lady Bird.
Yeah. Oh, not to press rewind or anything, but can we go back to Christian Bale for 1 second?
Sure. Yeah, The Fighter.
So this is before Screen Junkies. I used to do junkets for this cable channel, Fuel TV.
Okay.
And I did the junket for The Fighter. And
did you step in front of his light?
Yes, and he cursed me out. No. So I just like most of the junkets I do today, I would go in with a very stupid idea and hope the stars would play along with me. So my idea was The Fighter. It's a great story about these brothers, Mark Wahlberg and Christian Bale, playing these boxers. But the story's a little violent. Couldn't we have made the movie, but make them, instead of being boxers, something that was a little bit more peaceful.
Okay.
And I
What'd
pitched
you-
them
okay, you
all
pitched a
these
couple?
different ideas. Yeah. And Mark Wahlberg really played along. Like
Oh,
I was,
okay.
and I was pitching stuff like, what if they
Mark.
were two candle makers?
Okay.
What if they were rabbis? What if they were, like
Mark was
these
digging it.
brothers? Mark was digging it. He was on board.
All right.
Christian Bale, he laughed at the first one, and then I kept throwing more at him.
And he bailed on the skit?
He bailed. He literally said to me, "Oh, you're still going with this?" And I'm like, "Yep, that's my bit."
Was there awkward silence after that?
Well, the rest of it was a little bit
A little awkward.
Yeah.
Those are the best videos to me. I love when you make things awkward.
Thank you.
I mean, it's great. Listen, it's great when the talent plays along. And it's a funny video.
You should see when I do it in my personal life.
Just you like to get awkward with people?
Oh, I mean, don't we all?
I guess so.
I don't know. I feel like I'm. Oh, don't get me started, JT. This is a podcast, not a therapy session.
I should start JTE Therapy Thinks.
Yeah.
Where I just like do therapy.
Right?
I could charge people instead of asking them for their free time. So I, Tonya, to me, was an uneven film that I enjoyed for the most part. I think it was a little too long, and I think it's a good movie. I just don't think it didn't make my top 10 of the year.
I wouldn't put it in my top 10. I enjoyed it. But like you said, the uneven tone, I question. Like I would have loved to have seen. I don't know, the documentary style as well was a little self-conscious and
kinda
odd.
out of
It took me
nowhere.
out of the film a little bit.
Because they didn't keep it up. Like it happened every couple minutes, and every time it happened, you're like, "Oh yeah, I forgot they were doing this."
What if you look at I, Tonya as fan fiction about a relationship between the Winter Soldier and Harley Quinn? DC meets Marvel.
I'm into it. I'm trying. You know who's the standout for this, and a lot of people mention this, was the bodyguard, the actor who played the bodyguard,
Oh yeah.
who is just beyond dumb.
Yep.
And I feel like everybody in their life has met a guy like that.
Yes.
I could probably think of 2 or 3 that some old coworkers when I was like in high school. Like I just knew people like that, and I think that guy just nailed his voice, the monotone way he talked. Everything about that guy to me was just like hilarious.
Yeah,
I loved every time he
and
was
his
on screen.
weird cockiness and everything, and like, oh yeah, I got my best guys on it.
I shouldn't tell you his name, Steven or whatever he says.
Yeah, his intensity. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was very
so
funny.
But here's the thing: I think when I go back watch the movies, those moments that are so funny kind of pull you out at times of the realism that because this shit actually happened. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like Goodfellas, you watch that movie and it is based on a real life story. But I don't know. A lot of people consider this. They even said in the marketing like the Goodfellas of ice skating movies.
Yes.
It definitely has that vibe for it. But like Scorsese is such a master. I don't think they quite pulled it off like he did with Goodfellas.
No, no way.
I'm not-
Don't even mention it in the
No,
same
I'm,
breath.
I'm talking about
No,
tone.
I know.
I'm
Yeah.
talking about tone, yeah.
Oh,
Because obviously Goodfellas is one of the best movies of all time. This movie is not that.
Yeah, I mean, Goodfellas, you felt the intensity and everything built, and you had this rise and fall. There was always like kind of a wink and a nod going on, especially with the way they
Well, the thing is,
disseminated the action.
the narrators are not completely like you're hearing every person's side of the story.
Yeah.
And they even say at times, they look at the camera like, this didn't happen. Or she'll be like, this happened. So, like, you don't know what to take at face value and what not to. And I kind of get why they did that. But at the same time, it's like, you didn't give me a cohesive story because I'm not sure what to believe, what not to believe.
Yeah, it was some risky choices, and I applaud that. And at times, it was really fun and an enjoyable ride. But then at other times, it was like, it's not all adding up in the wash.
Yeah, it's actually a movie I will say. I saw it once. I watched it on a screener. It's something I would watch again on HBO. Just to kind of like, now that I have a better idea of what the style is, the tone, I think maybe it does require a second viewing just so you could like, all right, I know what I'm on board for this time. So that's the thing. For me, a lot of times you go see a movie, you have an idea before you see it what it's going to be.
Yes.
And when that movie kind of does something different, in the moment you're a little bit like, okay, this is exactly what I thought it was going to be. So those are the kind of movies I really like to give a second viewing to. And same goes for me. Like anyone can make a good movie or a bad movie, but like if I see a movie and I'm like, that was really good, I need to see it again, because if I go see it again and I know everything that's going to happen and I'm still just as enthralled and excited or laughing,
yes,
that's what separates it from being just a good movie and a great movie, in my opinion.
Absolutely. That makes a ton of sense, because you're savoring and looking forward to these parts. And you're like, yeah, completely. Because, and especially when you enjoy something and it's unexpected, you can watch just piecing it together and dissecting it as it's unfolding. I completely agree with you on that. But I don't see a ton of movies twice, just when they first come out.
Here's the thing, like if it's something I'm really anticipating, I'm so jazzed up in that theater, like I'm taking it all in and I'm like doing the best I can, but I'm so excited that like I need to go see it again, just if I could be like, what I thought the first time, is it true, or was I just so into it and so jazzed that like I was on another level? So when I saw Logan twice this year, I saw Thor twice this year. I saw a few movies twice. If I really love a movie, I need to see it again just to make sure I love it as much as I do.
Yeah, I loved Logan. I thought the first half of the movie was as good as it gets,
and as good as the second half.
And the second half
was
as
good.
Oh, I didn't think the second half was.
I know what you're about to say. That's why I'm trying to stop you.
Oh.
No, I understand. Listen, I love it, but
I love Logan. I think Logan's a top 5 all-time superhero movie.
What about the second half? Did it work for you as much? Just with,
you know,
spoilers. You haven't seen Logan, but that's your fault.
Just too much with the kids. The family got a little when he was with that family that got killed.
They're on the farm for a little long. I get
for
that.
a little long. But I'm nitpicking. I just loved how sparse the first half was, and just the I thought the best fights and battle sequences came in the first half.
Interesting.
And it became just It's a dark movie, so you need to lighten it a little bit. It needed a touch of joy, but
okay.
I thought there was a little too much hope and joy at the end.
Really? Hope
Even though, yes. Just
okay. I was crying into that movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting nitpicky, but I
get it.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I do think that maybe the pacing at times is a little off. There are times watching a second time where I'm like, oh, okay, you can fast forward a little bit here. Not fast forward, but like it could move a little quicker at times. I do think there at the farm takes place quite a pretty long scene on the farm. But every time I felt like that, something amazing would happen, I feel like, and I'd be like right back on board.
Yeah.
But again, that's just my opinion. Tonya, again, it's one of those movies where like I didn't love it so much I need to see it again. It was so unexpected as far as tonally and story wise. I need to see it again just so I could give it a proper chance, a proper showing. Because sometimes that happens. Sometimes you go in a movie and you're expecting one thing, you get something different.
Yeah,
and you gotta watch it again and take it for what it is.
Yeah, I thought it might have been undermined by a couple of the bells and whistles in the adventurous storytelling.
Yeah,
but a fun and enjoyable, all but uneven, but still enjoyable movie.
The CGI on her head, though, when she's ice skating, I thought was horrible.
Yeah, that was bad. We talked about it on Screen Junkies. You know what? As finally seeing it, it wasn't as bad as I expected because I built it up to be.
I mean, just
it wasn't Justice League level bad.
Was it a budget thing? Because like I watched Captain America: The First Avenger, so I'm rewatching all the Marvel films to get ready for Infinity War.
Sure.
And Chris Evans looks like he's a small little dude. It's very rare that I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, that's CGI. At some point, I just buy it. And you can't even get someone to skate. It's not even they're walking and they're moving in fast motion.
Yeah,
I don't get it. Get it like a stunt double and just you use angles. Anyway,
you make it sound so easy, JT.
I guess there was a great video on YouTube. I believe it hit like 2 days ago, where a guy with his computer, which he even wrote down like my $500 computer or $1,000 computer, he built a program to take off the mustache of Henry Cavill. and he compared it to scenes from Justice League.
Yes.
And his $1,000 computer did a better job of removing the mustache
Wow.
than the actual $300 million budget we did. So
Amazing.
that just shows like laziness or what, I don't, it's just, it shocked me.
No baby mouth?
It still looked like it was CGI'd, but it looked better than what was in the movie.
Damn.
And it's like, how's this guy create a program on his computer Mac at home that makes it look better than a whole studio, which has like $500 million budget?
Right?
It's unbelievable.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
All right, Hal, this is a good talk. We're going to go ahead and get some tweets from fans.
Oh, nice.
I tweeted out saying we're doing this podcast, and
Sick.
I said, what's the last movie you watched?
Nice.
We're going to read a couple and just kind of give like a little bit of speed round. You know
Hell
what that's
yes.
about.
Love it.
All right. Cody Baker at Baker DC94. The last movie I watched was Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 2. In my opinion, this is still the best Spider-Man movie of all time.
Oh, it's great. I mean, you have the poster with you as Doc
Yeah.
Ock. I mean, Alfred Molina, right?
Alfred Molina, yeah.
Alfred Molina was so good. I mean, he had so much gravitas. One of the best Marvel villains in recent history.
Yeah.
Tonally, does it feel a little dated?
I don't think so. I'm going to say no.
Okay, I felt like ever so slight because I feel like we've gone one level closer to like realism with the Spidey stories now.
I think that comes down to style of director. I think Sam
Yeah.
Raimi just has a certain style that could be a little goofy at times.
Uh-huh.
And if you're saying like it's dated, and I think you're saying Sam Raimi's style is dated. I think it's a style choice. I don't think it's like that wouldn't happen today. It's not like Batman and Forever.
True.
Which was just horrible for the get-go.
Oh yeah, that was
That feels like pure 90s.
Yeah, that was a misfire in all ways.
I think Raimi just puts this little bit of quirkiness and goofiness in his movies.
Yeah.
And I just think, if you don't like Sam Raimi and you don't like that style, then I don't know if it'll feel dated to you. I just don't think you like that style of comedy.
I mean, I love Raimi. I mean, much that he's done, but Spider-Man 2 is great. I feel like it may have aged a little bit though.
Interesting. I'll have to go back and rewatch it. I still think it's one of the best comic movies of all time. It's to me, even though I like Spider-Man: Homecoming, it's still by far the best Spider-Man movie.
Okay. I thought Homecoming was fantastic.
Homecoming was good. Don't get me wrong. I really enjoyed it. Here we go. TJ Dex at TJ Dex. 1994's Double Dragon.
Oh wow!
What a horrible movie.
Yeah.
Melissa Milano. Alyssa Milano.
But what a great video game.
Yeah, great video game.
Yes.
Mark Dacascos plays one of the Double Dragon guys. If you guys don't know him, he hosted Top Chef for a while.
I was in a movie
Chef
with
something.
Mark Dacascos.
Oh my God, that gold medallion thing.
Yes,
What's
the
it
Lost
called?
Medallion.
The Lost Medallion.
Yeah, you know the whole.
Did you get to
Remember the
hang
whole
out with
Maria
him?
Menounos story? Yeah, he was a super cool dude.
Dude, one of my favorite '90s movies, Only the Strong.
Oh yeah, and what about he? I think probably one of his top claims to fame. Another one, Brotherhood of the Wolf.
I own the Blu-ray.
Whoa!
I found it on Blu-ray. It's one of the movies I saw in theaters.
Yes.
Absolutely loved it. And last year, I finally found Region A because it was available on Blu-ray only in Europe and stuff.
Wow.
And I finally found a Region A Blu-ray last year.
Nice.
Love that
Wow.
movie.
How many Blu-rays do you own?
About maybe 400 to 450.
Nice.
Not too
Nice.
bad.
Yeah.
His name was Manny in Brother of the Wolf. And me and my cousin, after watching that movie, we'd always just call him Manny, no matter where we saw him.
Yeah.
Mark Dacascos, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, Iron Chef.
I know he's not listening. Yeah, Iron Chef. I said Top Chef. Double Dragon's horrible. The only way I'd see Double Dragons if it was Double Dragon and Battletoads. Let's see. Last movie I saw was Thor Ragnarok. It was too jokey for me. I liked it, but too many jokes. I love Thor Ragnarok. I don't know about you. I mean, I get it as a different style compared to the first two, but man, yes, maybe it did have too many jokes, but every single joke landed for me.
Yeah.
So I was totally fine with it.
So much of it landed, and I mean, right now to make I think that's an extra challenge to make a standalone movie that's compelling and that's really going to get your juices going separate from Infinity War, because we're in the run up. We are in the home stretch.
Can't wait.
So I thought Thor Ragnarok was super fun. I thought it was a blast and a half.
Yeah, I absolutely dug it. I can't wait to it rejuvenated that franchise. I think Thor was the weakest of the top three. Iron Man, Cap, and Thor were the three godfathers of the Marvel Universe.
Yes.
And this really gave it injection of just fun and entertainment I think it needed.
Absolutely. They let Hemsworth be funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
And just something I think that's telling. My girlfriend, she's getting a lot of airtime in this podcast, but she's not a Marvel enthusiast or anything. So
Okay.
I took her to see Thor Ragnarok, and she really dug it.
Perfect.
Conversely, though, I also took her to see Justice League with me. Yeah, let's not talk about that.
Let's not go there. Steven Scott at Steven Scott Real. Last movie he watched was Miami Vice.
Ooh,
Colin Farrell with a stash.
yeah, very brooding.
Jamie Foxx. Yeah.
Man, I just remember being a little bit disappointed because
Yeah.
I mean, it was. What year was that? 04?
No, I think it was a little bit later than that.
Okay.
I think the biggest problem with it was it had a great trailer. It had Jay-Z and Linkin Park.
Yeah.
Encore. And like it was
Yes.
like I remember that trailer and I was like, this movie's gonna be fucking awesome. It's like Bad Boys if Michael Bay wasn't directing it.
Yes.
And it wasn't bad. I just don't think it lived up to expectations.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just trying to be a little too cool for its own good, and but yeah, I mean, I feel like Michael Mann hasn't. I mean, Collateral's
It's been a while
pretty
since he's
great,
had a hit,
but
man.
everything he's made since Heat, I've always wanted to be as good as Heat, and I don't think he's made anything as good as Heat.
Yeah, he is by far his best film. I like Last of the Mohicans.
Yes.
I liked Collateral. But yeah, for me, he is a masterpiece, honestly. So I don't. It's hard to outdo that.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what else we got here. Let's try to find something that maybe. Oh, here we go. C.W. Barcher. C.W. Barcher saw 47 Meters Down.
Oh,
Did you see this?
No, I haven't seen 47
I
Meters
actually
Down.
saw a screening of it, and it wasn't bad. It was kind of a fun. It's exactly what it is. It's about two women that go in a cage.
Yeah.
Shark seeing, and 47 meters down, their winch breaks, and they're basically just surrounded by sharks. The thing I liked about it is not only are you in a cage surrounded by sharks, but there's a ticking clock because their air tanks only have so much air.
Yes.
So, for me, I like movies where you're put in a situation and you're trying, because you and the audience are like, what would I do in this situation? And then you get to either yell at the people on screen for doing stupid stuff, or you're yelling at them because, yes, that's what you should do. So I just love that kind of premise.
Who wins, the women or the sharks?
Oh, man, that's a spoiler.
All right, no spoilers.
I
no
will say
spoilers.
this. It didn't end how I expected it to.
Okay.
It had some twists that I was like, what?
Okay.
It's one of the few times since maybe The Sixth Sense where there was an audible gasp throughout the audience.
Ooh.
Not because of like violence, because something happened you didn't see coming, and the whole theater went. Like I was like, oh, it went from being an okay movie to like, okay, props. That I didn't see that coming.
And this is the one with Mandy Moore?
Yes, Mandy Moore.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want more of Mandy?
Right?
All right, we'll do one more. Here we go. Oh, here we go. Watch an all-time favorite from David Rowe at David Rowe 72, 2001, A Space Odyssey.
Oh, I mean,
The Godfather of sci-fi films.
classic.
You seen it? How long has it been since you've seen this?
It's probably been about 15 years or so.
Oh my God! Did you watch it?
Yes.
Okay, it's been a few years for me, but I always make it a thing to watch it every couple of years. It is a movie from the 60s.
Yes.
That you watch today, and almost all the effects hold up.
Wow.
Because it was all done. A lot of it was in camera. There's no like bad CGI. There's no bad compositions. Everything was done in such an artful way that you watch it today, and it looks like it could have been shot today. I mean, listen, some things are better. The monkey suits could be a little bit better and stuff like that.
Sure.
But I mean, everything in it is so revolutionary and so beautiful. It's a slow movie. Listen, I get some people out there like, oh, it's slow, it's boring. It tests your patience.
Yeah.
But I think it does it on purpose. And if you give yourself up to the movie, I think you will. There's not many movies I can think of that I've experienced like 2001: Space Odyssey. The first like 4 minutes is just a black screen and like noise.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're just decoding your brain.
It's exploring like the nature of existence and evolution and human nature, artificial intelligence, playing God.
Hal.
Yes.
Hal
Sorry,
2000.
Dave. Sorry, Dave. I will not open the pod bay doors.
I actually pitched a video where you replace all the dialogue from scenes from 2001: Space Odyssey.
Oh, that's fun.
And the guys at Screen Junkies dug it. I think we might have to shoot that.
Oh, yeah, let's do it. And at the end, the computer will say bye-bye.
Perfect. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Hal, you need to rewatch 2001: Space Odyssey.
I will, JT. I absolutely, and because something great like that, and something that needs to be just unpacked and explored. Yeah, I will take that because I love Stanley Kubrick as well.
One of the positives of being in LA is a lot of the classics. At least 3 times a year, you can see Lawrence of Arabia, The Godfather, or 2001: Space Odyssey in the theater in LA.
On the big screen, either at the New Bev or the Egyptian or somewhere.
Yes, the Egyptian I know plays 2001. Even ArcLight in Hollywood plays 2001.
Oh, yeah.
They usually play it once a year in the Dome.
Totally.
So definitely check that out.
2001 starring Keir Delay.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. So thanks so much for listening, Hal. Thanks so much for coming on.
JT, thanks for having me.
I will say
always
this.
a blast talking to you.
It is. It really is. I do have a Patreon at patreon.com/JTE April Dawn with my girlfriend. You go on there, guys, and you get exclusives. You get a mini version of this podcast. You get digital movie codes.
Whoa.
You get to be. You get to pick an exclusive movie review that I do just for you guys. The last one I did was, I think, Lincoln. They chose Lincoln, which was a lot of fun. And there's different tiers, and if you're tier 3, you get to be a guest on this show.
Oh,
so what I do is
that's awesome.
I know at the end of the show, I let you record about a 2 or 3 minute review of the last movie you watched, and I attach it to the end of this episode. So you could be on a JTE Movie Thinks podcast. Go to my Patreon, patreon.com/JTE April Dawn, and we're actually going to hear from one of my buddies here. I got his name. His name is Andrew Hayes. I believe I said that right. Yeah, Andrew Hayes. He just watched a movie that surprisingly surprised everybody on Netflix. You might know what I'm talking about.
Bright.
No. Cloverfield Paradox. He's going to talk a little bit about it. All right, let's give it to Andrew.
Andrew Hayes here, and the last movie I saw was The Cloverfield Paradox. Now, I thought the first 30 to 45 minutes of this movie were pretty enjoyable. I was very entertained by it, had a lot of fun with it in that amount of time, and thought it was pretty cool. And I was very interested and intrigued in the movie at that point. And for the most part, I think that the performances are pretty solid. David Oyelowo's character stands out to me, and easily the best part was the whoever played Hamilton. I thought they did a great job, and they were the best part of the movie for me. But ultimately, this movie was a disappointment for me because I really liked Cloverfield and I loved 10 Cloverfield Lane. And what I think this movie really suffers from is it tries to set up for something down the line, like another movie, and I didn't really like that. I also feel this movie, after those 30 to 45 minutes, becomes very bland and boring, and the pacing just becomes pretty bad and becomes very predictable. It has a lot of cliches in it that I noticed, and it kind of feels like an Alien ripoff to me. There's a couple things that I found to be kind of plot twist in the movie per se that I found to be very predictable, and that it was very I could easily saw that coming, and that pretty much anyone could have seen it coming. And it was ultimately a disappointment for me because of that. I would give it about 5 out of 10 or 2 out of 5 stars. I'm intrigued to see where the Cloverfield universe, I guess you could say, continues. But ultimately, if it stops here, I won't be mad because, we got Cloverfield and then Cloverfield Lane, and that's enough for me.